there was a lot of enamorment with Yunus, particularly from the West. Let's not forget that he came into power with Biden still in the White House, with the West supportive of his agenda, including of what he at some point promised to be 4 years of reforms, new constitution, new electoral system. That shifted very quickly. And I'd say that now we're in a place, to your question, is does he still, is he committed to the elections? I think he's realized that the only way out for him, politically and actually also literally in some ways, is to hold elections and to leave with this medal saying, I have held the country together for 1.5 years, 2 years. I've held elections. I got a charter through that will be validated through a referendum that is going to be held in parallel to the February election. Whether that referendum is going to lead to something significant or not, we don't know. But it's a smooth exit plan for this cast of characters that has shown up from nowhere, really, and disillusioned itself, I think, quite quickly, fortunately, with the reality on the streets that, is very different from what Yunus and his advisors think.
So is the street now accepting of the fact that Yunus will leave and they will have an election?
I think the street never recognized in that sense Yunus as a long-term solution. But it was the BNP who certainly saw him as a transient individual that was going to hold elections sooner rather than later. The BNP always pushed for elections. The Jamaat, for example, I don't think recognized in him the leader of the Bangladesh that the Jamaat Islami wanted and still wants. The army was never, I think, particularly supportive of Yunus, gave him time. Give his interim government some time. But in March, this year, when the army chief Akar came out and pretty much, signaled very clearly, you better hold these elections sooner rather than later. That was the tipping point, I think, for me, where we realized that, Yunus was there for as long as he could be, and he wanted to be, but eventually...
So he wasn't going to be a Karzai, in the sense that imposed by America and, kind of stayed on for a long time, made himself a part of the polity.
See, the point is, did he have the power to do what he was saying? Right? Did he, a new constitution, right, for example, without elections? That's initially what his agenda was, a new electoral system. He never had that power. And if you're in the business of politics, you know that. Every relevant Bangladeshi political actor knew that he was at best a very short-term figure. And that's exactly what has unraveled, I think, over the year. And now we're finally having the elections, which are the condition for a normalization, where you'll see the emergence of a new, legitimately elected government that will have the power of voters on its side to then do...
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching ANI podcast with Smita Prakash.
अगर हम उसको मस्जिद कहेंगे तो फिर विवाद होगा।
The issue is टूटा है क्या भारत?
400 पार का मतलब ये है कि संविधान खतरे में है।
क्या हम लोग ये निर्देश देते हैं कि फला को गिरफ्तार करके जेल डाल दें?
वही तो कह रहे हैं सब।
ये बेबुनियाद निराधार आरोप।
सच्चा सुनना चाहो देखो स्मिता प्रकाश ANI, it does not lie.